The Vermillion City Council meeting scheduled for Monday, March 16th at 6 p.m. will come to order. Alex, will you call roll?
Toller. Here. Lieber. Here. Price. Here. Holland. Here. Genowine. Helwig. Here. Cheeseman. Here. Murrah. Here. Mayor Cole.
Here. You stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone had a chance to review the minutes from March 2nd, 2026 special meeting, along with the March 2nd, 2026 regular meeting. If so, are there any changes to the minutes or motion to approve?
Move approval.
Motion approved by Councilor Cheeseman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Genowine. Any other discussion on the minutes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Minutes are approved. Adoption of the agenda. Has everyone had a chance to review the agenda? If so, are there any changes to the agenda or a motion to adopt?
Approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda by Councilor Price. Is there a second? Second by Councilor Toller. Any other discussion? All in favor of the agenda to be adopted, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Agenda is hereby adopted. For visitors to be heard, under visitors to be heard, any person in public who wishes to speak, please raise your hand and come to the podium and state your name and address. For any items not on the agenda, members of the public may speak under visitors to be heard on any topic not on the agenda. Remarks are limited to 5 minutes and no decision will be made at this time. On any agenda item, public testimony will be taken at the beginning of each agenda item after the subject has been announced by the mayor and explained by staff. Any citizen who wishes may speak one time for 5 minutes on each agenda item, and then public testimony will be closed and given to the governing body. At this point, only City Council and staff may discuss the agenda item unless there is unanimous consent from the council, and questions, however, from council members may be directed to the public through the presiding officer at any time. For visitors to be heard, I know we have a proclamation. Before that, is there any other visitors to be heard today for anything not on the agenda? Seeing none, Mr. Mandernock, if you want to go ahead and.
All right, thank you. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and read this proclamation on the National Transgender Day of Visibility. Whereas the Vermillion Human Relations Commission recognizes the importance of promoting equality, acceptance, and understanding within our diverse community. And whereas on March 31st of each year, the worldwide LGBTQ plus community comes together to celebrate the lives and contributions of trans people, while also drawing attention to the poverty, discrimination, and violence the community faces. And whereas the International Transgender Day of Visibility was created in 2010 by trans advocate Rachel Crandall as a day when people could refocus on celebrating the lives of transgender people, empowering them to live authentically, while still acknowledging that due to discrimination, not every trans person can or wants to be visible. And whereas it is still necessary for trans people to be seen through authentic, diverse, and accurate stories which reflect the actual lived experiences of trans people, both for themselves and for those people who believe they never met a trans person. Whereas it is incumbent upon us as a community to celebrate all members of our community and to commit to creating a more inclusive and accepting society for all individuals, regardless of their gender identity or expression. And whereas the Vermillion Human Relations Commission firmly believes in fostering a community that welcomes, values, and accepts all people. Now, therefore, we, the Vermillion Human Relations Commission, do hereby proclaim March 31st, 2026 as National Transgender Day of Visibility in Vermillion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mandernock. Are there any other visitors to be heard today? Seeing none, we do have a public hearing. There'll be a request for a variance to decrease the required setback along the north side of the property from 8 feet to 7 feet. This is to expand a single-car garage from a single to a double at 610 Catalina. Jose.
Thank you. The city received a petition requesting to reduce the side yard setback on the north side of the property, as you mentioned, from 8 feet to 7 feet. Again, this would be to allow for the construction of a two-car garage and replacing the existing one-stall garage at that location. The property is zone R1 residential. This zoning district does allow for garages to be constructed as part of residential structure, which would apply in this instance. The request was made by the owner, Mr. Thaddeus Utek and Ms. Lisa Utek as well. The item in here, the council acting as board of adjustment needs to consider several factors within the ordinance. These are listed in the ordinance. I do have them in a table format within the memo. I'm not going to read them verbatim just because there's a lot of information there, but it is there for you to utilize as a source of information if you so choose. The city also received two documents, I guess, two letters from property owners in the vicinity, one from their neighbor to the north, 602 Catalina, and another one from a different neighbor on Valley View, or a resident of the area. Both of these letters were in opposition to the variance. The letters have been provided to the council, and they do state why they're in opposition of the variance within those letters. With all that being said, staff would recommend approval of the variance to decrease the required side yard setback along the north side of the property line from 8 to 7 feet to construct an addition to the existing one-car garage. For the variance to be granted, there needs to be a 2/3 vote in favor of the entire board. That means 6 out of 9 members need to vote in favor of the variance. For reference, I do have an aerial here that shows essentially, this would be a 610 Catalina. The property line is roughly speaking in that location, 602 Catalina. The addition to the garage would be on the north side of the property, which would be right here. So, best of my knowledge, the garage would be somewhere in this location here, reducing this side yard setback from 8 to 7 feet.
Thank you, Jose. Is there any visitors to be heard on this item? Please come forward, state your name and address at the podium.
My name is Tracy Hummel. I live at 602 Catalina Avenue. I would be the neighbor to the north.
Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor Cole and the Vermillion City Council. By means of introduction, my name is Tracy Hummel. I am the owner of 602 Catalina Avenue. I am here to object to the request for easement for Thad and Lisa Utek, owners of the property at 610 Catalina Avenue. I met with City Manager John Prescott and City Engineer Jose Dominguez on Monday, March 9, to discuss the proposed setback between our properties. I was given copies of the mortgage survey done in 1988 by Joseph W. Gillen that shows I have 12.6 inches from the foundation of my house to the property line. Given that I have more than the 8 foot necessary to meet current city code in regard to the setbacks, myself or future owners of my property could add on another 4.6 feet if they so choose. The option to expand the existing footprint adds value to my property if and when I decide to sell. Furthermore, there is no demonstrated hardship as the Uteks purchased the property knowing that there's just a single stall garage. Granting the easement can be considered senseless without demonstrated hardship. It will set a precedent for other properties in Vermillion, weakening and undermining the effect of zoning regulations. Why bother having the setback written into city planning and zoning code in the first place if granting easements is the expectation? If I do not contest the variance, it invokes a self-created hardship for future property owners of 602 Catalina Avenue. It decreases the space that would allow for emergency vehicles should they need to enter either my property or the property of the Uteks, which adversely affects safety and well-being of both properties. It will have a negative impact on property values, privacy issues, loss of light or air circulation, creating an adverse result in the case of fire. There was a fire in the Utex backyard. Not having the required 16-foot combined setback will increase the danger of fire to my property. Lastly, I see no precedent to grant said variance to 610 Catalina. Respectfully, thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Let's wait till after visitors to be heard, then if you have a question for her, we can do that. Are there any other visitors to be heard on this? Seeing none, Councilor Lieber, I believe you, I'm sorry. Okay, yep, come forward, sir. Yep, just come forward to the podium and state your name and address prior.
My name is Thad Utek. I'm the owner of 610 Catalina.
Okay.
I'm requesting a variance, not an easement of any kind. I have a letter from the folks to the south of me expressing support for the project, and a letter from the folks directly across the street from me expressing support of the project.
Can you hand those letters and we'll,
Okay.
thank you, Jose.
And there is a 6-foot privacy fence from the front of the garage to the back between our properties. So by getting a 1-foot variance, it wouldn't affect anything on the property to my north because there's already a 6-foot fence. It wouldn't affect any access or accessibility to that property.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Is there any other visitors to be heard on this? Seeing none, Councilor Lieber, I believe you have a question.
Oh, that was my question, was about the fence. Who owns your fence? Who owns the fence? The
I have a
6-foot?
6-foot privacy fence.
It's your fence,
On my side?
okay? And
And
it's
then-
12 feet from that fence to your house?
Yes.
Yeah. So if the fence was not there, well, first of all, I don't think the fire department's probably not gonna go back there. But if an emergency vehicle had to get back there, if the fence wasn't there, then the actual 1-foot difference wouldn't be a difference because it still would be 12-foot plus 7, so you'd have 19-foot access if your fence wasn't there.
I agree.
Okay.
Unless I decide to add on to my property, which I have 4 feet 6 inches that I can add on before going into the setback, which, why do you have setbacks if you're just going to dismiss them?
Are there any other questions or comments from the council? Councilor Lieber. Go ahead.
So the garage you want to build, you're only going to, what's the distance from the side of your garage to the fence? And has that been surveyed officially? Because sometimes people put fences up and they think they know where it's at, but go ahead.
No, I don't have a survey. There's 10 feet now between my garage and the property line. To my north, there is a 3-foot chain link fence installed, and I wanted privacy, so I installed a 6-foot on my side of that chain link fence. And so right now, there's 10 feet between my garage and the property line.
And there's no way that you could make that garage 1 foot smaller to fit within the 8-foot?
Well, it'd be difficult to open the doors. You'd probably have to fold the mirrors in on the vehicles. I have a sheet here of measurements that I've taken, if you'd like to see.
The garage, you have a walking door going into the garage from on the west side there. Is that going to stay there?
No,
That's going to come out and you're going to shift your garage door over and make it 60 feet? Okay,
Yes, sir.
That's what I wanted to know too.
right now it's a 9-foot wide door. I want to have a 16-foot wide door
Gotcha.
eventually.
Thank you.
From my understanding, because I know we had just had a similar type variance that we just did, one of the issues I know was the building material, the trusses, obviously garage door in this situation. Has the builder or the contractor, have you spoken with them to see if that is an issue? If it was to fall within the parameters of the setback, the trusses in this situation to add on, or the garage door itself?
We would just have to buy 2 new trusses and add them on. We're moving this way and the trusses go this way, so it would be very easy to do. I've spoken with the cement contractor, and the building contractor would be Gene Hawkins. We went over everything together, and It'd be very cramped if we didn't get a variance.
Counselor Helwig?
I'm still trying to figure out what, Councilman Lieber is saying. So do we know where the property line is? Are we assuming that it is at the fence? Are we talking about from the fence? Or is the fence actually on the inside of the property line? And if that fence were removed, then you would actually have that additional space?
No, I wouldn't have that additional space. My fence is on my property, right up to the property line. When the house to the north of me was purchased, there were stakes put in the ground that show where the property line was, and it's right consistent with what we thought it was. There's a crack in the sidewalk, a new section of sidewalk, not a crack, and so that's right in line with that property line.
Does that answer your question? Is there any other comments or questions? Is there any motions?
I'll move approval of the request.
There's a motion to approve the variance request by Counselor Holland. Is there a second? Second by Counselor Toller. Is there any other discussion on this? Seeing none, those in favor of the variance request signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by saying nay.
Nay.
Motion carries 1 nay, I believe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, we have a public hearing for a special permit to exceed permissible noise levels more than 50% Saturday, March 28th from 4:45 PM to 6:30 PM at the Radigan Platz for the No Kings event. Nick?
Vermillion Rising has applied for a special permit to exceed allowable noise levels for a No Kings event at Radigan Platz on Saturday, March 28th from 4:45 to 6:30 PM. The event organizers shared that recorded music will be played through speakers at the Platz while people assemble, and the program may include a drum circle, speakers using an amplified sound system, singing and chanting. The City Council will need to determine if the event is in a suitable location with appropriate facilities during the allowable time and if the applicant can demonstrate the public benefit of the event. The $25 fee has already been paid, and administration recommends approval of the permit.
Thank you, Nick. Is there any visitors to be heard on this item? Seeing none, council for any discussion? Motion to approve by Councilor Price. Is there a second? Second. Second by Councilor Cheeseman. Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by saying nay. Motion carries. That's all for public hearings. We do the consent agenda. For the consent agenda, we have invoices payable, the amendment to Blue Peak Cable Television franchise agreement, and then to appoint Shane Grease as director and Eric McPherson as alternate director to the Dakota Main Stem Board. On the invoices payable, I'm going to be asked to abstain from that item due to item number 1 for travel reimbursement for me.
And I'll ask for item number 2 to abstain. Oh, I was going to yell through.
And Councilor Holland will abstain as well for item number 2, so we will abstain from item 7A. Is there any items on the consent agenda that wishes to be removed? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda item 7A for the remaining body other than Councilor Holland and I? Motion approved by Councilor Helwig and a second by Councilor Lieber. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed by saying nay. 7A is approved. The remaining of the consent agenda items, is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion approved by Councilor Helwig, second by Councilor Price. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed by saying nay. Consent agenda is approved. Next item, we have no old business, new business. We have annual library report. Dan, been patiently waiting.
Good
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mayor and City Council members, for the time on your agenda again tonight. I know it's been a year since we've done this, but as many of you will remember, South Dakota state law requires public libraries submit an annual report to both their governing body and the State of South Dakota Library. The state determines the format of the report and compiles all the data. They then pass portions of that data onto the Federal Institute of Museum and Library Services. Completion of the annual report is tied to federal and matching state funding received by our state library, and they use these funds to support services and resources and training for libraries across the state, as well as electronic resources that are available to citizens across the state. In your packet today, very similar to previous years, the first item there was a complete annual report that we'll be submitting to the state library. It will say draft on it for now until we hit that submit button after presenting it to you guys this evening. After that report, on the blue sheet is our one-page infographic version. If you want the short version you can see in one page without having to go through all that, that's the condensed version, at a glance short version. Also included was the results of an annual library survey we did in December 2025, including a selection of answers about what people value most about the library that we highlighted. And last of all, just for your reference, the state library takes the data that gets reported each year and publishes a document called Public Library Facts and Stats that summarizes the data for all the libraries across the state. So to give community members and South Dakota citizens an idea of how much library services get used across the whole state. Just to highlight some of the core information from our annual report this year, 2025 library visits increased 5% over last year to over 68,000. Total physical circulation of library materials in 2025 was 73,581 checkouts. That's up 2% compared to last year. Our electronic materials continue to grow in circulation. We reported almost 25,000 electronic checkouts, up 15% compared to last year. In total, the usage of library resources, both in physical and electronic format, 98,484, that was up 5% over last year. We, of course, offer a whole variety of other services and programs and activities. In 2025, we had 613 programs at the library. They were attended by 9,756 participants. That was a 28% increase over the previous year. Our public computers there in our tech center and youth room saw 9,961 sessions, and we had over 23,000 wireless sessions on our library's Wi-Fi. And a little bit more specific, but one of our flagship programs of the year, our 2025 summer reading program during June and July, saw participation from 147 kids, 60 teens, and 88 adults, with a total of almost 225,000 minutes read combined. In December, as I mentioned, we conducted our 7th annual library survey. The number of responses we received was up 28% over last year. And the main thing I noticed was an increase in the number of responses that fell into the excellent category, with customer service up 7%, collection up 15%, programs up 20%, and online services up 12%. But either way, overall, 98% rated our library to be excellent or good. I always like to mention, though, that we are continually appreciative of the work that both our Library Foundation and our Friends of the Library Group to also help support the library. Foundation projects last year included new equipment for the children's area and the replacement of the library security cameras. And our Friends Group continues to run a monthly used book sale, Edie's as it's affectionately known, in the basement there every month. And they use the funds they raise to support a summer reading program, but also a whole bunch of other programming and activities, movies and book discussions that we offer to the community. But to wrap up this year, rather than just throwing some more numbers at you, you'll see in your packet there I included, I thought I would highlight just a handful of the comments in the survey that answered that question, what people value most about the library. My favorite one, the library is like the town's living room. I love attending events, browsing books, sitting in your comfy chairs while I read. It's also an awesome place for community groups to meet. The staff is excellent, great programs, chill place to unwind while the kids enjoy books and programs. Customer service and how my children are treated. It's a perfect third space and allows me to learn new things and have a quiet place to just be. It's an important, safe, and friendly gathering place for the community that enriches us in many ways. And welcoming, always something happening, wonderful services. So that was just maybe 7 of the 129 responses there, just to kind of highlight some for you. But I would like to thank you as always for the time reviewing that report. I know it's long and there's a lot of numbers in there and I throw a lot of other attachments at you, so thank you. I hope this report demonstrates, what a valuable resource our library is to our community. And I'd like to thank the council for their continued support of the library, and so we can keep offering all these great services and programs. We would request the council please acknowledge receipt of our annual report, and as always, I'm happy to answer any questions you have now or at any time.
Thank you, Dan. Is there any visitors to be here on this? Seeing none, council for any items? Councilor Hellwig?
Thank you. So as I understand, residents of Clay County can sign up for free. University of South Dakota students can sign up for free. However, in the past year or so, I've had a few families who are non-Clay County residents, but who have children at the Vermillion School District who have hoped for a library card. And I was wondering, is it possible to offer free library cards to those, I think we're talking about literal handful of families who are Union County more likely residents, but Vermillion School District?
Possible, yes. Advisable, I guess that would be a decision for the library board. I mean, ultimately, school district boundaries aren't the same as county boundaries. They're just the way it works in South Dakota. Those residents are technically residents of Union County, and their taxes go towards paying for the libraries in Union County, so they are eligible for a free library card in Union County. They do not contribute anything towards the cost of running our library or the services in them. Our library board could opt to give them free library cards, but we'd essentially be offering them free services, which I don't have particularly strong feelings on the matter, but I would say, for community members, it does raise questions about why we're giving them free services when the rest of the community members have to pay for those services. That would be my only concern. So I guess, yes, it's possible. The question would just be, do we want to do it?
Yeah, no, I absolutely understand the concerns, but it signals to me if we have a couple of families who this would impact, and we're talking about children who are Vermillion School District, and then want to go to our library afterwards, it would be something that, and I think part of their concern is that they're not really sure where to turn, right? They turn to school districts, ask them to pay, they turn to the library board, they turn to us, and so I would like the question to be raised, or possibility, and again, whether that's for us or for the library. This is me saying I would like to see if that's could be considered, or where it should be considered, or
Let me ask you this,
consider it.
Dan, how much is a library for out-of-county resident?
$50 a year.
A year for per card or per family or household?
We're already generous for non-resident households. We say it's per household. I mean, technically, they could just get one card and all share it anyway, so it's really not worth worrying about it. Yeah. I mean, I guess my understanding would be, it would just be a topic we'd have to bring before the library board, as it's a policy decision, and have them make that decision. I mean, a couple of other thoughts to think about. The only thing you need a library card for is to check books out and take them home. They can come to the library, they can use the computers, they can attend the programs, they can sit in the library and use the materials, all at no cost. So they can do almost everything everyone else can do without a library card.
But
I'm not, again, really advocating either way, because it would be a decision for the library board. It does sound like a little bit of a dangerous precedent to set, because we get residents coming in all the time from the surrounding areas, and it's a good thing, commenting on how nice our library is, but also the fact that our library is open a lot of hours compared to other smaller libraries in the surrounding region, south of us, and so are we opening a door here for multiple other communities to start coming in and asking why they can't get free library cards? If we offer it to them, why can't we offer it to this group as well? Those would be the only thoughts that come to mind immediately. The kids are also more than welcome to use the school library and check items out from the school library, so they're in no way cut off from materials. We share all our electronic resources in Libby with the school district, so they have access to them anyway. But yes, it's possible. I can put it on an upcoming agenda for the library board and they can make a decision if they want to. Yes.
Counselor Helwig, after this, let's talk. I think I have some ideas that could help.
That's fine, I just want to make sure that the concern
And
is.
I don't want you to think I'm advocating either way. They're just the immediate things that come to mind that if I was putting together a memo of the pros and cons for the library board, that would be the things I'd list to help them making that decision.
I agree, and I'm not here to make a decision either, or make a recommendation either way. I just want to make sure that the concern is raised, because it was brought to me and.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the same person. I have had a conversation with a community member who brought that up. I did ask the school district, and I'd have to go back and look at it, about how many households it impacts. But also, when you look at households in there, it's hard to tell how many of those households and how many kids are in each household, and how many of those kids would actually want to be coming to the library after school. So it's quite possible, in all likelihood, it would be, like you mentioned, a fairly small number. I just don't know for sure.
Thank you. Counselor Genowine, I believe you were first.
I'm curious, for those who do pay for out-of-county library cards, are those checked annually like the e-resources are? Like we have to call in and say, yeah, I still live in town, but is that an annual membership?
Yes, yeah,
So-
it's paid per year. It's
They went to
calculated
check
as
out the
basically, and it is also something that's in the state library's accreditation requirements, but it's based on approximately what the average Clay County resident pays per capita in their taxes for the operating cost of the library. So they're basically contributing an equal amount or equivalent amount of what the average taxpayer pays to get those free library services. That's how it's calculated. It's not an arbitrary number. It makes those non-residents pay the same amount towards using the library as any Vermillion or Clay County citizen would in their taxes.
Counselor Cheeseman, you had something?
Yeah, I was astounded by those numbers that you were rattling off. I mean, I think that as a reflection of those numbers, it looks like you guys are doing a great job, and I just want to congratulate you on your efforts and keep moving forward. I think it's an incredible resource for the community.
Thank you.
You bet.
Anybody else have anything? I'll just chime in exactly. Counselor Cheeseman and I agree. That's twice today. Right? I agree that the library, I get rave reviews about our library, especially from outside county residents, from other area people that come to our library, whether they're visiting our community. I know we had a couple of people that just stopped and visited our library that were just flying in for the day, and they had rave reviews about it as well. I know we utilize the library at my house, at least my wife does, because I hear constantly about how the perfect husband is in her books that she reads. That is not me. But we also utilize that seed bank, and I really appreciate that as well, because I think the seed bank is a unique thing that our library has as well that is really, really good. So, on that note, do I have to have a motion to accept it?
We accept the report.
Okay, motion to accept the report by Counselor Price. Is there a second? Second by Counselor Cheeseman. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you very much.
Next item we have is the Consolidated Board of Equalization appointments. John.
So several years ago, the city, the county, and the school district adopted, and each year you do this, you have a Consolidated Board of Equalization. And you have 3 city council members who serve in this board, along with the entirety of the county commission and 1 school board member. And so you're asked to appoint the 3 members that would serve on the Consolidated Board of Equalization this year. And then the remaining city council members are listed as alternates in the event that something comes up and somebody's unable to fill in. The anticipated date, or I'm pretty sure the date is set, I do not know how many they'll have, is Tuesday, April 14th, beginning approximately at 1 p.m. So I'll turn it over to you, Mayor, to find out who the 3 council members will be, so I can report that to the Director of Equalization.
Thank you, John. Is there any visitors to be heard on this? Seeing none, council for discussion. I do have two council members that had reached out that would be willing. That's Counselor Toller and Counselor Holland, who are repeats from last year. So thank you guys on that. I realize I'm the only one left from last year that hasn't. I would just offer it out to anybody else before scheduling that. Everybody's all looking down. I see that. Because we all go do this, right? Okay, I guess I will throw myself on that sword again.
I can be an alternate.
We're all alternates, but I would put you at the top of that
Right,
list
so I
then.
can be at the top of that alternate
Okay.
list. It's hard, if we don't know the number.
Not yet.
Not yet, no. And just for clarification, I know last year, we did get it wrapped up. We did have a repeat.
One review that we came back and doubled that
I think it was yeah, it was the following week. We did have one that we had to double back on, but that was just because we needed more information on it. But other than that, we were able to get it up in a couple hours. So do a repeat of the last year's with Counselor Helwig at the top of the alternate list. Any your discussion on this? All those in favor of those three signify by saying aye. Oh, I'm sorry, I need a motion on that, don't I? Or do I need a motion at all on this?
It doesn't hurt.
Motion to approve those three members by Counselor Price. Is there a second? Second by Counselor Genowine. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed say nay. Motion carries. Next item we have is the first reading of ordinance 1552 to amend Title III for Administration Chapter in reference to terms for planning and zoning commission appointments. Jose, or John.
I'll start off. Jose is he's got the document I'll put up there to help explain this in a minute. Just for background, as the council knows, there's a 9-member planning and zoning commission who does give you, as a city council, a lot of input. They're probably one of the lead commissions for our community in terms of they look at rezonings and different items that they present to you for consideration. Right now, the scenario that we have of those 9 members is that 4 members are up for appointment in one cycle, in this case in 2027, and then 5 members are up for appointment in 2030. And that's been kind of sometimes a little bit of a challenge in that it also coincides with the first meeting in July. So we have new council members potentially, some of those years are appointed, and then one of the first acts of business is they're appointing nearly half or slightly over half of our planning and zoning commission. So the question arose last year, is this the best way to do it? And so city staff went and visited with the planning and zoning commission members about what made sense, what might be changes they would look at. And basically the feedback that we got was that the planning and zoning commission members currently have 5-year terms, and that there was value in continuing to have a 5-year term for a planning and zoning commission member. And but they were open to looking at different ideas of what that rotation might be in terms of how members are appointed and how many are appointed at one point in time. So that kind of went on the planning calendar, and it rose to the February 17th noon agenda, where we staff presented 4 different options to the city council about how we might move to kind of break up those terms so you don't have 4 one cycle and then 5 another cycle. And the consensus of the council was to direct staff to prepare something which is, I guess I'm referring to it this way, nobody else in staff has picked up on this, but be 33300 or 333 blank blank. Depends on how we want to look at it in terms of that cycle. So basically in a 5-year window, you would have the entirety of the Planning and Zoning Commission appointed, but only a third at one point in time. And so what we have attempted to draft here, and this was one that took a little bit of work to figure out the wording on this, was to take and not shorten the terms of any of our current Planning and Zoning Commission members. We respect the service that they're doing and also the terms that they were appointed to, but to move or to shift to, if this is the wishes of the council, to having a cycle where you'd have 3 one year, 3 the next year, and then 3 that following year. And so what this ordinance before you does, if we take those first 4 members there, so these are the 4-member terms that would expire in July of 2027, this ordinance before you would do, would have 2 different, would do one thing. 3 of those members would be appointed to a 4-year term expiring in 2031, and 1 member would be appointed to a 5-year term, which would expire in 2032. That gets us about halfway there in terms of moving to this cycle. And then in 2030, that's where it's a little bit different. 2 of the Planning and Zoning Commission members, the terms that expire in July of 2030, would be appointed to a 2-year term, which would expire in July of 2032. And then in July of 2030, we have 3 of those 5-member terms that are expiring. Those 3 members would be appointed to a 3-year term that would expire in July of 2033. That would get us into the cycle of getting the 3 members there and protecting the current terms of our Planning and Zoning Commission members. So that all works well, we believe, unless, and invariably, we do have changes in life, things will happen. And if we have vacancies in the Planning and Zoning Commission, and this is where it was a bit more work, a bit more wordsmithing to get what we believe will allow us to move to that over time. And also keeping in mind that nobody would serve more than a 5-year term. So if a member of the current Planning and Zoning Commission were to resign their term prior to July of 2028, the member who is appointed would be appointed to the balance of that term, whatever that might be, whether that's 2031 or 2030, depending. This is in July of 2028. I should have backed up here a second. If this ordinance gets adopted, we'd have the City Council assign each one of the current board members a seat number, and that seat number comes into play when we talk about the next cycle. So if after July of 2028, someone were to resign their seat on the Planning and Zoning Commission, the appointee, and by the language there, would be appointed to a term which would expire in 2031, 2032, or 2033. Seats 1, 2, and 3 would be 2031. Seats 4, 5, and 6 would be 2032. Seats 7, 8, 9 would be 2033. Again, this is to help us move to the preferred option that the City Council had us draft an ordinance on going forward. So that is the first part of that. The second thing I would note is there is one typo in the ordinance before you. That is in the first sentence, it uses the word chapter, except that when this chapter shall take effect, we should have used the word ordinance. So we would like, if you advance this on to a second reading, we would do that with changing the word chapter to ordinance.
Thank you. Hold on one second. Is there any business to be heard on this? All right, go ahead.
Can they, 5-year term, can they go for another 5-year term?
Great question, yes. This would not there are currently no term limits for Planning and Zoning Commission members, and there would be no term limits going forward unless the City Council or the Planning and Zoning Commission adopted that in their bylaws.
Any other, I know it's longer than council. Any other questions? Did city attorney look this over? Just, I know there's a lot of stuff here, so I just want to make sure that we're good to go on this before we go to the second.
I guess, did Daryl review it?
We sent this to Daryl Jesse last week, and he got back to us Friday, I think it was.
Yeah. He was good with it?
Yep.
Okay.
I say, I did not review it, but if Daryl reviewed it, then we're good.
Okay. Any other discussion by council? Is there a motion to advance? Motion to advance with a change by Councilor Murr. Is there a second? Second by Councilor Price. Further discussion? All in favor to advance, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by saying nay. Motion carries. Alex, you have, thank you. Okay. That is all we have on the agenda for that. City Manager's report.
Thank you. Just a couple of upcoming meetings here at the city prior to your next city council meeting in April 6th. The library board meets this Wednesday, March 18th at 6 p.m. in the library's Kozak room. Our tree board, they meet 4 times a year. They have one of their upcoming meetings at 10 a.m. on Thursday the 19th in the Powell Conference Room here at City Hall. The Joint Powers Board, which is our joint board with the City of Vermillion, City of Yankton, Clay County, in Yankton County, with respect to the landfill recycling center and the transfer station in Yankton. They have one of their quarterly meetings coming up. That is on Thursday, March 26th at 5:30 p.m. in Yankton. And then the Human Relations Commission has a regular monthly meeting on Thursday, April 2nd at 5:30, and they meet in the Memorial Room here at City Hall on the second floor. Just a reminder, as part of the city's contribution for the construction of the natatorium on USD's campus, there are, I believe it's 8 opportunities for the general public to utilize the facility, and that can be done without a wellness center membership. Just a reminder, the next opportunity is tomorrow, March 17th, from 4 to 7:30 p.m. The cost is $3 a person. We'll have these out probably next week. We have 3 terms on the Human Relations Commission and 2 terms on the Library Board that are all expiring in May. So we'll have the expression of interest forms available. We hope to have applications received by 5 p.m. on Thursday, April 23rd, in order to the City Council to be able to make appointments at your May 4th meeting. And in your packet, one raffle notification that wasn't reported at your last meeting. USD Law Public Interest Network, they're selling raffle tickets during their fundraising auction on Thursday, the 26th of March. Tickets are $5 each, 3 for $10, or $25 for a wingspan. And it's a 50-50 drawing with the proceeds benefiting the student group. That's all I have.
Thank you, John. So the pool tomorrow is going to be open for that. Are they dyeing it green for St. Patty's Day?
That I don't have the background on.
That is all I have on the agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by Councilor Morris, second by Councilor Lieber. Any other discussion? All in favor to adjourn, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by saying nay. Meeting adjourned.